welcome to another round of Chitter Chatter. Today we're going to chit chat with Pankaj Advani. He is the multiple world champion in billiards and snooker. Well, we are going to chit chat with him all about his titles, about his preparation, and how he was the youngest winner when it comes to these titles. And do you know he's got more than 24 world championships and a lot more to come? So we're going to chit chat all about this today with him. And Pankaj Advani is here, so let's send him a request. I can't wait to get started with this chit chat. So while I'm sending him the request, thank you all you guys for all the time and sending us so much love and hug. It's these loves and hugs that makes me want to come more and more with different guests. So keep sending in. Hello Pankaj. Hi.
Hi Shweta, how are you doing?
Very good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm all excited, geared up, because the moment we put a story that we are having a chit chat with you, I had these number of questions coming in. So I'm going to all of those questions.
Sure. Looking forward.
So you have just won and come the IBSF 6, the Snooker World Cup, and had a victory over Pakistani's Babar Masiha in finals. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, it's been really exciting these last few weeks because after the pandemic, we didn't know when we were going to get to play our next international tournament, and I had to wait for 2 years to compete. So more than winning, when I left for Doha, I just thought I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to go out there and play for my country because I didn't know when that was going to happen. Times were so uncertain. We all felt like as of these 2 years, it's just like now away. We don't even remember now anything. We were stuck at home for so long, and to go out there and to win two tournaments, the Asian Snooker and the IBSF World Cup 6 back to back, was truly a special feeling considering the long gap.
So before I go to the next one, there are a lot of people here sending you lots of loves and hugs. Vishal Giri sending a hi. Rana Shavin is saying a hi. Rohit Kapoor, Megha Israni, Vijay Prabhakan, Neha Vadwa, and I can go on with the names. And Bitita Bag is saying, hello champ, how are you doing? And there's a lot of love. So do you want to say something to them before we get started with the further chitter chatter?
Hi everyone. A lot of them are known friends, relatives, colleagues, fans. So thank you so much for all the love that's coming my way and our way. And it's my first Insta live actually, Shweta. Believe it or not. Yeah. I'm not as active as you on Insta, so it's my debut. So be easy on me.
So glad that your debut is happening. I mean, it's a privilege to have your debut on our Chitter Chatter. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So Pankaj, like you mentioned, there was a big gap of 2 years and there was a lot of uncertainty involved. And obviously the protocols have changed now with the traveling and all of it. So tell us about your travel journey and all about it. We are all yours about it.
In fact, I didn't even know that I was going to end up meeting a Pakistani player in the final. But before I left, I had so much to do in terms of the documents. It's become a pain now to travel, let me tell you. You need to get what is called an exemption certificate. You need to get your RT-PCR done. You need to get, of course, the visa. That goes without saying. You need to show your return ticket when you land over there. And there's so many formalities. But the fact that we've not traveled, and for sports persons not to travel internationally for 2 years is a long gap. We're almost on the road every month. We're either playing an international or a national tournament. So I was so excited. I said, to hell with it. I'm just going to do whatever it takes, ensure all my paperwork is in place and go out there. And it's just so nice to, be on foreign land and be welcomed by the Qatar people with such warm hospitality. Little did I know that when I started out my journey, I would end up winning two major events for India. But I think as the tournaments progressed, I sort of gained that momentum and my confidence grew from match to match. And if anybody had asked me, what would you expect? I would say even if I had won one title out of the two, it'd be a big thing. But to win 15 matches in a row unbeaten and to beat a Pakistani in the finals of the World Championship. So many of my relatives and friends watched it and they said, you know what, this is as exciting as an India-Pakistan cricket match. So that was really, really touching for me.
So Rishabh is here and is not going to let me continue if Rishabh wants to ask you, so did Otters Club help?
Well, I do practice there once in a while, and thanks Rishabh for getting me those facilities to play on and to accept me in the Otters Club family. But there are a lot of clubs that have supported me in Mumbai, because now I'm actually shuffling between Bangalore and Mumbai because I'm married to a Bombay girl, Sanya Shadatpuri, who's an established makeup artist herself. So there's life has just become very different. It's become a lot busier for me, and I'm enjoying the ride, honestly.
So while you were talking about your latest win, Chandresh.Madwan, thanks made even a game of snooker look exciting against Pakistan. So did you have the pressure somewhere? Because the moment there's any match, be it snooker, billiards, or any sport, when it comes between India and Pakistan, there's another euphoria that's going on. So did you have any pressure out there? You won the title.
This time, to be honest, Shweta, when I went out there, I said every match is equal for me. I'm going to give it my all. I do understand from the fans' point of view, or the people who want you to win, especially the Indian fans. They're like, lose the tournament, it's okay, but beat the Pakistani player. But for me, as a professional, honestly speaking, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, but if I had lost, probably then I would have had to hear a lot more from the enthusiasts and get some criticism as well, which I have got in the past. But to just win the tournament, look, whether it's a Pakistani player or an Iran player or any of the top players in the circuit, is just an overwhelming feeling, and the kind of love I've got and I'm still getting right now is truly overwhelming.
So Kapil Bishnoi 29 is saying if billiard is in Olympic, then one gold is fixed, champ. That's you out here this compliment. Q Sport India is saying which one was more tough? First final Amir Sarkosh, second one Babar Misia.
I think the second final was tougher against Babar Masih because the scoreline was a lot closer. And when I started off the match, I took off very well. In fact, I had a 6-2 lead, and I just needed one more frame to win the title. The one who reaches 7 frames first wins. And then I slipped up a bit, a couple of unforced errors from my side, no excuses. I sort of messed up. I thought the finish line was so close, and I just need one more push, and I couldn't make that happen for 3 frames. So he pulled me back and made it 6-5. And at 6-5, I got very jittery. So, I went out, I spoke to my coach, I just took a couple of deep breaths, took a toilet break, not as long as Tsitsipas's toilet breaks in tennis. I don't know, the tennis fans would understand that. But you're allowed just a couple of minutes, and you've got to make it really quick. And I said, just calm down, take it shot by shot. So, that's why some of my friends like Chandresh and the others said that, India-Pakistan snooker can get very exciting, because it turned out to be a very, very close affair. So I think that was my toughest match.
There is not Tanmay asking, as someone who's just starting out as a person in passion as a snooker player, how bumpy is the road ahead? Any advice here?
Well, see, you have to play the game because you're passionate about it. I started billiards and snooker because I love doing it. And, we all end up doing our best when we are fully involved, when we put our heart and soul in it. For you, the things that you love doing, you're an influencer, you're crazy about fitness, you lost 40 kilos yourself over a period of time. Listen, I've done my research too. So I think you're a huge inspiration for me, because, we work out so much, even for our sport, when people think that, oh, listen, what's that? Just get the cue to the ball and that's it. But there's so much of core and stability and activation of, certain muscles, which you would understand about, that, we need to do as well. So it's a lot more than what people think, just going out there and striking ball. But the road is bumpy in the sense that you've got to deal with both victories and losses, and take it in your stride, because this is a game where you're not always going to win, right? You can strive to be consistent, but you will never always end up on the winning side, because it's unpredictable. It all depends on that day. Your opponent may play much better than you, and in such times you just take your hat off and say, listen, well played, and you work and come back stronger. But I don't think it's a very expensive sport, Shweta. Like, people think, oh, this is a sport for the elite. Absolutely not. All you need to invest is in a cue stick. And besides that, yes, there are now clubs giving you sports membership, so you don't have to become a full-fledged member. And things are a lot better now than they were before. But I understand that this is not a game which you can play on the streets, or take a bat and a ball, or just a football and just start. So it's got a certain niche element to it.
So while we were talking about consistency that is required, Rishabh0147 is asking, what makes you so consistent in the sport that very few players are as consistent as it comes to you?
I'd break it down to two things: hunger and passion. I know they sound very cliched, and most of the people who are successful in their field would say that. But it's about how much you want it and how badly you want something. And now, my wife Sanya understands that when I'm traveling abroad or playing a tournament, I don't communicate much. I'm in my own zone. My mom understands that. My brother, of course, he's a sports psychologist, Shri, so he understands that completely well. And the communication is very minimal, and I just concentrate on what's happening in that city or in that country at that time. I think these are the reasons why I've been able to maintain a certain level of consistency, besides constantly learning, because I feel there's never an end to learn. As good as you are in your profession, there's always scope to learn something new, and I'm always keeping my eyes and ears open to learn something new every day. So I think these are the keys to becoming successful and maintaining your performance over a long period.
So, who introduced you to this sport?
Well, it was Shri, my elder brother. He used to play in a snooker club in Bangalore, which was just 2 minutes down the road from our house. And in fact, we were in Kuwait, and because of the Gulf War, we had to shift to India. And in '96, I used to just follow him, really tiny little tot. I was just 10 years old, could barely reach the table. And for 3 weeks, I just observed him. I observed how he played the game, stood, kept the bridge, struck the ball, everything. And I said, okay, now I'm going to take my shot. And the first shot, Shweta, that I tried on the table, the ball went into the pocket, which is very rare. So that's how my journey began in the world of cue sport.
So, the first step is always very important, and if the first one is exciting as it was for you, we see the proud moment here, because while we are talking, there are a lot of fans of yours who are saying they're super proud of you, and they are amazing that how you won so many titles in so many years, and then also like you were one of the youngest achievers when it comes to Q sport and all of it. And Urit Buddy is saying, greatest of all time, no one will ever go to his achievements. We are so proud of love from Prayagraj, and love from all over is coming, like all the cities, all the countries, and that's the best part about our life. Besides chit chatting with you, that there's so much love coming your way. So tell me, how do you handle the criticism that comes your way? Because love always motivates, but how do you handle the criticism?
I divide criticism into two parts: constructive and destructive. I feel if it's destructive, it's best to ignore. Yet we're human beings at the end of the day. We do have feelings and emotions. I'm sure you've gone through your own share of ups and downs also. People judging you, and but whatever actions you do, sometimes things that you say, your opinions, can be taken out of context. So if it's constructive, I would still say, okay, fine, let me see what I can do about it and take it as feedback and positively work on it. But if it's destructive and if people are just wanting to harm you, I tend to ignore it. And sometimes I even give it back. I know there are some film stars who, and celebrities who give it back in a really harsh way and, try and shut people up. But I don't think I'm one of those. I don't think I can react explosively, because if I do that, then there's no difference between me and the trollers, really.
True. And like you just busted the myth that snooker seems like an elite sport, and but today you can have a QSIC and membership at regular places. Adran.ritesh.di think snooker still has a slightly negative image in India. How do you think you can turn that around?
Well, I don't know what negative image he meant by, but a lot of people think that people go out there to play snooker as a recreational activity, and as a result, a lot of other things happen like drinking and smoking and betting. First of all, betting I don't understand, because I think betting happens maximum in which sport, because it's the biggest sport in India, and while the IPL is going on, I mean, I don't need to elaborate really. But the other things, I mean, I would say that every sport uh, has a certain element of skill and finesse, and it's very easy to look at the negative things and say, okay, fine, because some people have done it, so the sport is labeled as that. Let me tell you that in the national championships, there are over 1,000 participants who come every year to whichever city it's held in, and are there and aspiring to become, to reach the top 8 of the country, top 2 of the country, so that they could represent India. Now that number is only growing. Where I would say that the game needs a little more boost is where where the state associations and governments can come and improve the facilities and make it more accessible to people, especially in the remote areas and the tier 2 cities and rural areas. But in the cities, you do have a lot of facilities, and I don't think the game has such a negative image. Thanks to the champions we've had over the last 6 decades, and as long as we are all around, we try and keep that image positive.
So there is the need of Pradhan 21 asking how to improve the game. And do you also mentor people or give guest lectures in some coaching classes, especially in Bangalore?
I'm still playing competitive billiards and snooker, so at the moment I'm not into coaching because it's a totally different sphere. And uh, but I do some of the online stuff. In fact, recently I've done a shoot for an online learning platform, and that should be out soon. That'll be very interesting to watch. But I don't do live coaching. I do help people once in a while. They're struggling with their game or more mentally. And the person who's helped me out mentally is my brother Shri, who's a sports and performance psychologist. So anybody who's going through trouble, over here and in life, whether it's in the sport or any other sphere, can always contact him also.
So we have Chitter Hatangadi sir here, and he's saying fantastic ambassador for sport. And a great player. All that you need is to be in the right place at the right time is what Coach HHARR is saying for you. And there are a lot more people again sending a lot of love your way. So tell me, Pankaj, right now you have just won and come, and obviously the euphoria is very different. But again, to get into the whole practice for the future ones, because you're already preparing the next one. So what is the whole journey like?
It's sport is such that if you have tournaments back to back, there's not even enough time to like celebrate your victories or even come to terms with your losses. Sometimes you just have to go from match to match, place to place, tournament to tournament. And in fact, right now I'm in Mumbai. In a couple of days, I have my selection matches for the upcoming World Championships, which are likely to be held early December, back in Doha. So, I'm not disappointed about the place at all because Doha is lucky for me. But again, my mind is such that I have to mentally prepare myself that, okay, I'm going to play matches from day after, and again, get into that competitive mode. Again, kind of shut off and, keep communication to a bare minimum, not use the phone too much, all of that stuff. And the season has started now, so we have a lot more to look forward to, because for 1.5 years there was absolutely nothing, and now we have our selections, and hopefully I'm hoping to qualify, and represent India in the World Championships, and then after that we have our national championships in Madhya Pradesh. So I'm glad that the season's back and the ball's rolling again.
So Rishabh0147 is asking, do you take some times off or maybe a few weeks of no practice, or does it take a few days to get back to the usual again?
It takes a lot of days to get back to your best. And in fact, that's a good question, considering that we've had so many lockdowns and, a sort of a start and stop kind of preparation, especially for sports persons. So before these two major championships, which I won in Doha, I had a good 30 to 35 days to prepare. And now that is also not enough to get back to my best. So you just make the best of what you have, put in the hours, concentrate on your fitness. And in fact, Shweta, on that note, I wanted to ask you now a question rather than you asking me. What's the secret to your fitness? And how did you lose so much weight?
Well, it was just like, I know it sounds very stupid, but I used to be thin, and then I started putting on weight, and I was enjoying that phase too. And one day when I was decluttering my mind and cupboard, I saw this outfit which I used to love in college. And I was like, one day I'm going to get back. So it was that outfit motivation which got me on this journey. And it's been a long time. And like you said, it's the consistency that had to keep me going.
Wow. You must have been super consistent and super motivated to, shed those kilos.
Yes, because that outfit was something which was like, acha, ab to karna hi hai, kind of a thing. But yeah, and then it's like the moment you start getting appreciation for what you're doing, it's like a positive reinforcement that you're on the right track. And then thanks to my nutritionist and everyone around, it just became a lifestyle, and I enjoyed the process.
Oh yeah, I think that's the key. so many people ask me, how do you deal with pressure and the expectations and stuff? And I think if you just enjoy what you do and focus just one moment at a time, rather than thinking, okay, if I do this, it will mean that, or think of the end game, because you're losing track of what you're doing right now. So uh, that's really the key.
At the age of 17, you won the first world title. India got the youngest champion in the year 2003. What was that feeling like when you were back home? Did you believe that something like this has happened? Like, I mean, starting at 10 and already winning a title.
So I remember on October 25th, 2003 was when I won my first world title in China. Now that is, for me, the most special moment in my career, because I was the youngest, number one. Number two, it was Diwali in
Oh,
India.
wow.
And when I called up my folks, or the people from the club and everywhere, they were celebrating my victory with firecrackers, and it was just a different feeling altogether when I returned from China back home, because they had a motorcade, and I was taken through the entire city, and there were about 300 people at the airport. So as they say, your first love is always special. For me, my first title will always be special. The IBSF World Snooker title that I won on October 25th, 2003, and it's going to, well, almost just one more week now for that date
Yeah.
to come. So it evokes a lot of nostalgic memories.
So happy anniversary to that title.
Thank you.
Chitter.
Thank you. Happy 18th anniversary, I would say. Thank you.
Wow. Happy 18th anniversary for 25th October today itself.
Thank you, Shweta. Thank you.
Pankaj, you are known as Prince of India, the golden boy of India. How does it feel?
Great. I would love people to come up with more names. I'm not going to lie and say that, oh, listen, don't give me that adulation. I love those names. I love Golden Boy because I believe that in sport, it's a very harsh reality, Shweta, because people don't look at the player who finished second. Yes, probably the runner-up and the number 3 or number 4 player, they can win hearts, but ultimately over a period of time, people remember the winner and the person who lifted that trophy eventually. So that's the brutal world of sport, which is why even in your biggest sporting events like your Wimbledon stuff, you see the runner-ups crying, because they know they are not part of history really, yet they've given it their best and they've fallen short. So I really love the name Golden Boy, and of course Prince of India, Prince of Pune. I was born in Pune, so I have a strong affinity towards Maharashtra. And now that I shuffle between Bangalore and Mumbai, I'll be more in Maharashtra as well.
Being married and she has her own routine because she's a celebrity makeup artist. You being a celebrity in the field, traveling and all. How do you all manage? Because communication is the key. You have to be off the phone. She can't be too much on the phone, and the distances. So how do you manage all of it?
I think Sanya is great because what I lack in terms of like being really tech savvy and being active on social media, she makes up for. So she pushes me to do things that I haven't done before, and she pushes me out of my comfort zone, which is great. Uh, Otherwise, I would have just been in some corner of Bangalore, just stuck over there with my regular routine and not experimenting with new things. So I think she's brought that into my life. And as far as her work is concerned, I understand now that I don't really need to trouble her when she's working. Like when I'm working, she sort of, stays away and says, listen, do your job. I wish you the best. We'll communicate once in a while. But it's a lovely ride. It's a fun ride. We have our ups and downs also, but we travel so much. We explore so much. We meet so many different kinds of people through our professions and through our common friends now, that life has just become a lot busier and more fun.
So Ankit Bansal 9642 is asking, who's your sports idol?
Ooh, it has to be Roger Federer. I mean, the class, the grace, the poise, the style, the elegance, his humility, all these things make him so endearing. And really, I think he's the people's champion. So for me, my idol is Roger Federer.
B next to is asking, do you have a snooker table installed at your home also?
No, I don't. I practice in the clubs or wherever there are facilities. I think it'll just be too much of snooker if I play it at home. Too much of anything is bad. So I'm not a snooker nerd. I'm not a snooker geek. I consider myself more like an artist. When I'm in the mood, I'll go out there and do it. It's not like I have to do it every single day. Even I'm sure fitness is the same with you. Sometimes you're in that mood, so you work out a little more. And sometimes you're just not in the mood, so you do the very basics and get back home and say, "Chalo, this is okay. We're done for the day." So I'm kind of like an artist, quite moody at times.
How do you, since you're talking about moody, the next question is how do you calm yourself when you don't perform as per your expectations?
Well, I know it does pinch you, when you lose or when you don't do well. And over the years, I've realized that if it doesn't hurt you, it means that it doesn't mean much to you. So if you take your work seriously, you will feel bad that you've not performed well. But I would look at it as an opportunity to learn. I've always believed that success takes you one step forward, failure takes you 10 steps forward. Because it's only in failure will you go back to the drawing board and say, okay, fine, how can I make myself better? How can I rectify my mistakes? Go back to the drawing board and see where you went wrong and rectify them and come back as a stronger person and as a stronger athlete.
Besides the sport that you excelled at, is there any other sport that you enjoy?
I like going for 10-pin bowling. I don't know if that counts as a proper, but it is a competitive sport. It's there in the Asian Games. In fact, recently a few friends and Sanya and all, we all went out for a game of bowling and I scored 123, which is a very decent score.
My ball goes in the lane. It's like my nephew looks at me and he's like, Masi, what are you doing? So I think I should go like this the moment you said that score.
I have a word for that, Shweta. If you don't mind, I'll share it with you. The people who throw the balls into the gutters are called gutter specialists.
Oh, then I have won a title right here on my Chitter chapter when it comes to bowling. So, like I said, every title is good.
Yeah, why not? At least you're first at something.
That backhanded compliment too. So, Pankaj, since you have scored so much, I'm not going to go ahead on that sports question anymore. Back to the cue sport. So, while you are practicing, and like you said, it's an art, you need to enjoy. So, anything too much is not good, and anything too less is not enough of hard work put in. How do you maintain your balance mentally when it comes to professionally working on your art?
It's a very wide subject, and I know that now a lot is being talked on mental health, and we recently had World Mental Health Day. We have people coming out in the open and talking about how at some point they were depressed. I've gone through that myself, undiagnosed depression at one point of time where I wasn't motivated to perform at all. But I have to give credit to my elder brother Shri, because in a way, I think at the start of my Q Sports journey, he helped me find my profession and I helped him find his calling, really, because I was his first client. And when I was going through that tough phase, he came out to help me and motivate me to, look at things very differently. And today, while yes, the numbers are important, I won my 24th world title, I've won my 11th Asian title, and maybe hopefully more for the country. I think it's all about understanding why you're doing something and breaking it down to simpler things. We tend to get ahead of ourselves too often, in the sense that, our mind gets crowded with too many things. But if we break it down to simpler goals, short-term goals, things become a lot easier. Like I'm sure in your world of fitness also, when you were doing all that hard work, you never thought that, okay, I'm going to go from 0 to 10 in one day. I'm going to slowly progress, go 1, 1.5, 2, and gradually take it up a notch. So, don't be upset if you have a bad day, because opportunities always come by. And in fact, in sport, it's even more brutal. And I always feel that the difference between sports and entertainment is that in sport, you get only one take.
Right.
But, in acting, you get more than one take.
Like the moment we perform on the stage, like I've been doing theater now for 4 years. So it's like one take. No other show, in spite of the dialogues being the same and, the actors being the same, it's totally a different experience. No show is the same. So I think I totally resonate with what you're saying.
And you just have to accept there are days you'll be brilliant, there are days you'll be average. And it's important to manage those off days, because sometimes even if you're not feeling your best, if you're not performing at your best, accept it, embrace it rather than resist and, say, okay, fine, why am I not doing this? That can always be done later after you finish your match or your performance. But while you're doing it, we're all human at the end of the day. That's the fun, the ups and downs. And, it's because of the losses that, my victories are a lot sweeter to me today.
So before I finish our serious chitter chatter and get to the fun round, let's have a selfie moment. And are you ready for a selfie?
Done.
We've had a lot of serious chit chatting in our chitter chatter, and now I'm going to before we end this chitter chatter. So everything that I ask, you have to give me quickly, max one word to one sentence answer. It's
Okay.
more like fire. So are you ready?
Okay. Here we go.
Stand.
What?
Cue stick.
Music.
Cue stick.
Cue stick. Prized, my most prized possession.
Snooker.
Snooker. Accurate.
Billiards.
Finesse. Concentration. Pool. Pool.
Yeah.
Pool. Fast. Fun.
Awards and honors.
Motivation.
The Arjuna Award.
Proud moment.
Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award.
One of my biggest moments.
Padma Shri 2009 Award.
009. Ah, huge honor. All these awards I received them from the President of India, so it's a huge honor to receive all of them.
Padma Bhushan.
Unforgettable moment.
All the world titles that you've received.
Oh my God. Just special, grateful, blessed.
Asian Games.
My comeback title, my comeback gold medal.
National Championships.
Hopefully an unbeatable record. I'm being a little arrogant. Sorry?
No, it wasn't arrogant at all. Dreams and goals are always, you need to be that aspiring to reach where you are. So,
True.
not at all. What did I ask? Oh shit, I only forgot what was my last question.
I didn't get you. What was
Gold,
it?
gold medal.
Gold medal. Golden boy.
If you had to title your book, your biography, your memoir, what would it be?
On cue.
Are we going to read it anytime soon? Is there something on the cards?
Nothing on the cards, Shweta, as of now. But look, there are so many films and books written on athletes. So I think for a game like ours, which is so different and people view it as unconventional, not mainstream, although I would, not agree to that. I want to just let people out there know that this is just like any other sport. Yes, it requires more focus and mental strength, but it's a competitive, skillful sport that is played by many countries across the globe. And of course, the journey and the ups and downs and all of that. I would love to let people know about the journey of a cueist.
And Chitter Chatter with Shweta Rohira.
Chitter chat. Fun, freewheeling chat. Just awesome to be chatting with you and doing my first Insta Live, my debut.
I'm so glad the debut was here. It's really made my Chitter Chatter really privileged to have you here. And thank you for your time. And we're looking forward to many more Chitter Chatters because we're looking forward to many more titles where you're going to win many more awards, many more championships. So we'll have a lot more to chit chat and wish you all the best and keep winning for us.
Thank you so much, Shweta. It was an honor. It was lovely to be part of your show.
Thank you and see you soon.